Get me in there. There you go. All right. Folks, when I go out and play golf, I always practice before I go. And there's probably a good reason for it. You work out some of the kinks. The reason we moved up our broadcast, I'll tell you today too, if I can be perfectly honest, is because I'm going out to play golf with my friends in Incubus this morning. So you'll pardon my mess and my confusion. My name's Steve Rennie. This is RenmanMusicandBusiness.com. This little segment is called Ask Renman, or maybe we should change it, Fred, to watch Renman and Fred do their comedy routine on the internet. Anyway, here's what this is all about. We've got a website for people interested in the music business, that are musicians looking to get their music heard. We promised folks on the outside that we'd give you some inside access, so we're going to try to tap into all my years of experience, not years of experience as an internet broadcaster, clearly, but I do have some experience in the music business that I want to share with you. How can you participate, you ask? If you're interested and have a question for me, come on the site, send me a 60 to 90 second video that you can record on your webcam. I want you to post it to YouTube. I want you to send me a message on the Renman site. My name is Renman. You'll be easy to find me. Send me a link to the video, and then we're going to answer your question right here live on the internet. And we might screw it up. It's entirely possible. Proof positive today. But hopefully we'll get a few of them right. So the first question today is from a very talented young singer in Colts Neck, New Jersey, by the name of Kirsten Spruch. We're going to play her question right now, and we're going to hope that it works. Freddie, take it away.
Hi.
Oh, perfect.
My name is Kirsten Spruch. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm a singer-songwriter. I write a lot of my own songs, and then I also do a lot of covers on my YouTube channel. So my question for you is, how do I get myself out there? Because I have about 5 or 6 songs now that I wrote myself, and my main problem is, where do I start? Like, where do I begin? I have this material and I don't know what to do with it. As a new artist, I just really need to get myself out there, and I want people to know my name, and I want to become part of the business. I have the whole summer ahead of me, and I need to just promote myself, and I don't know where to start. I was thinking recording those songs and then making an EP or CD kind of thing, but I still need help. So what do I do? Thanks.
All right, Kirsten, that's a fine question you got there. How, and a popular one, I might add. How do you get your music out there? And you also asked a little question about making an EP, so let me address both of those. Kirsten and I spoke on a Skype call earlier in the week just to kind of get familiar. We were going to post that, but sound issues. So how to get yourself out there. The best way to get yourself out there, folks, today is through the internet. Watch what is going on here, notwithstanding our little faux pas this morning. Once you get everything right, it's a great way to communicate. I know, Kirsten, you have a website or a YouTube page where I've watched a bunch of your videos. That's a great place for you to help get the word out. You still got to get the word out about your site, but you can do that in a number of different ways. And one of the best things you got going for you, Kirsten, is that you're 16 years old. You're young. You're just starting off. So internet is a great way to get your word out there. And it's also a great place to present yourself in the best possible way. So I would say to you, Kirsten, keep using that YouTube page. Keep figuring out, or keep an eye toward presentation so that you're always presenting the image that you see in your mind of your brand. The second thing I'll say is that you've been actually out doing it as well. I see that you're busking on the boardwalks out in New Jersey. I see that you posted a video on the site where you were playing at a local coffee shop and people were walking by, but you kept playing on and doing your thing. That gigging is one of the most important things you can do to not only fine-tune your music, I think, because you get that instant feedback, but it is where you'll polish your skills as a performer. And if you're going to have a successful career in the music business as a performer and artist, you'll definitely want to have a live business. You touched on something about thinking about making an EP. It's a conversation that's been going on in one of the discussion groups on the site about, do you make an EP, do you make an LP, or do you perhaps release tracks in the moment, more on a one-by-one basis, and stretch out the time that you can keep people are interested in your music. I'm kind of leaning these days, feeling much more the rebel and thinking that there's something to be said for releasing music in the moment, but as long as the song is great, if you've got some proper ideas or some thoughtful or clever ideas about how you're going to present that song, perhaps with a video, I think that might be a better way for young artists that are just starting out, because financially it's much more feasible. And I think it gives you a chance to polish up the pieces of your music so that you get in the habit of doing that. So I think ultimately it's a judgment call on whether you're going to make a whole EP, whether you're going to make an LP. How you actually release that music out, I think, is the question of the day. So thanks for your question there, Kirsten, and I hope that helps you. And I'll send you a link to our more full-length Skype conversation with the little audio faux pas intact. Fred, we're going to play another one here right now. We got a gentleman by the name of Tim Kranz, who, if you live here in California, is from Canoga Park, which is right over that hill right there. So, Tim, sorry it took me so long to get to your question, but let's give it a roll. Let's share it with the audience. Fred, take it away.
Hi, Renman. My name is Tim Kranz. I'm from the band Tightrope Sky in the Los Angeles area. And my question is, how do unknown bands get themselves noticed by the media so we can get press? It just seems like it's pretty rough when nobody knows who you are. You send out your press kit and I don't know if we're saying the wrong thing or if they're just skipping us completely because they don't know who we are. But how do we get good press? Thanks.
All right, thanks, Tim, for the question, and thank you also for joining the site. I know that Tim has been a very active participant here on the site, and I hope you're learning something, Tim, and that we can be of some use to you. And I'll ask you two to forgive our technical. Actually, Fred is really good with all the creative stuff. I've just keep bringing him into a mess and asking him to sort it out. So anyway, hang in there, Fred. Tim wanted to know, it's a similar story, how do you get the word out? But his question had more to do, I think, has more to do with the notion of publicity and how do you get the word out in a public relations kind of sense. You know, again, one way you can do that is through the web, but you still got to attract people to your website. But I think what Tim was talking about is how to get his music into places where people can review it. Here's a couple things to think about, Tim. There are tons of blogs out there, music blogs out there on the internet today. And while 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have been inconceivable that some blog, some Perez Hilton of the world could move the needle as much as some of the more mainstream stuff like, Rolling Stone, Spin Magazine, and so forth, right? When you put a record out in the old traditional sense, you wanted to send it out to reviewers. So that was all the mainstream media. Most of those folks have websites as well. The new element is these blogs, and I think if you spend some time Googling, checking with other musicians, you can find out who the influential blogs are. And it's much easier today to send them a link to your music with a picture, with your story / bio. It doesn't mean that they're going to listen to it any more than it was a guaranteed thing if your record company publicist was taking it to one of those media outlets. But that's where you got to start. When you do get to the point of hiring a publicist, every publicist needs stories, they need angles, they need things to pitch to these media outlets, whether it's a blog, whether it's a mainstream media outlet. So some of those items, if you will, is a record is coming out, a tour is happening, you're playing a benefit concert somewhere, you've done something newsworthy and noteworthy, and those are the kinds of things that a publicist would typically take to those very same blogs and music publications as well. In the early days of a band, clearly most bands don't have enough money at this point to go hire a publicist, so like so many of the things that are going on here, that's my phone, this is live on the internet, folks. It's Mikey, guitar player. Got to call him back. Yeah, at any rate, you will have to do so many of these things yourself. So put the publicist role on there with agent, manager, and everything else, and you'll know what you're up against. So get a story, Tim. Tell it to the blogs. Tell it to the mainstream media. Get your website together so that when you get somebody's attention, you have a place to lead them. And again, think about the presentation, the songs you put up, the visuals that go with the songs, the photographs that shape your image, and I think you'll be on the way to getting the word out. And when you do hire that independent publicist, you make sure you have some items for her to work. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Tim. And we got one final question from one of my friends, Mr. Peter Sebring from over in Germany. who had a question, kind of a tough question, I'm going to say, Peter. I talked to Peter on the phone on Skype earlier this week, too, and the audio was screwed up. I'll send you that, Peter, but I'll try to answer your question again here. Fred, take it away.
Hi, Renman. This is Peter calling you from Germany. First of all, thank you very much for your effort and love you put in that project and support people like me. I myself got into the music when I was 2 years old, I think, listening to my father's 60s and 70s rock and roll records. And I began playing the guitar at the age of 13. At the beginning of this year, it was quite confused year. I made my lifetime dream come true and recorded my first own album. And during that phase, I published things on SoundCloud and Twitter also. And I got contacted by Tom Panunzio of Geffen You Might Know. That kind of thing just hugely inspired me a lot more to go on doing what I'm doing. I was never quite sure if it would suit the people, because it's kind of like weird rock and roll shit I'm doing. And that just brings me to my question. Do you see any chance that there will be a movement like the one that was founded by Ginsberg and Kerouac, that was set up in the 50s and ended in the hippie era, spread love around the world? Do you see the chance that there will be such a movement in the music business again? Thank you very much, Renman. See ya.
All right. That's my friend Peter Sebring. I love listening to Peter talk. Very dignified. And if I had any guts, Peter, I'd go all the way bald like you, my friend. But I'm going to hang on to what I got for a while. All right, Pete's question was interesting. It actually made me do a little homework. I'll talk about this notion of whether the vibe and the aesthetic of the days of Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac and the Beat Generation, folks that were doing things out of love and conscience, could ever come back again in the music business, right? And here's my answer after some more consideration, Peter. I think at the end of the day, folks with an opinion about the world, the world we live in and how it might be better, have always been a part of art and music and creativity. Those are things that inspire people to write and to make music and so forth. Whether those things catch on in a mainstream kind of way, whether they sell, they become popular, they become trending on Twitter or whatever, hard to tell. But what is obvious to me is that those things have always been artist-driven at the end of the day, and then the mainstream world kind of picked up on them. So if you're an artist out there, I think it's in your hands to decide whether you can craft a new beat generation, a generation with conscience, whether you can, in some ways, in the 2010s and 11s and 12s, create the kind of awareness that was going on in the 60s when I was growing up with music. So anyway, this site is all about giving artists some tools to work with, empowering them to do great things. So perhaps, Peter, you can be the new Jack Kerouac and lead that beat generation into to a brighter place. And anyway, I want to thank you for joining the site here, Peter, and contributing. It's a lot of fun talking to you. Now, next Tuesday, we're going to do another video chat. I got my friend Nicole Alvarez from KROQ 106.7 here in Los Angeles joining me. If you haven't met Nicole, please come by and join us. She is one saucy little Cubano, my favorite girl. Nicole is a lover of music. She's a ton of fun to hang around with. And so we were talking last night thinking, hey, we want to try to do something different. So on this next broadcast, notwithstanding the fact that we just screwed up the most basic stuff, not to be deterred, folks, is an inspiration to you to just dream and do it. We're going to try to change it up a little bit. So Nicole has asked me to give her a list of all the best songs on the RenmanMusicandBusiness.com site. So much great stuff has been submitted. It's hard to pick it out. I've got my favorites, but I'm interested to hear what your favorites are. And I've asked everybody to tell me what are the best songs they've heard that they didn't write. So it has to be another member on the site. It can't be your own music, because I know you love that. And tell me the name of the band and the artist so that I can send it along to Nicole, because she's going to pick a couple songs. And I think in a perfect world, and I mean, there may be a video attached to those songs as well. In a perfect world, we'll not only play some of that music on the air, have Nicole talk about it, but I think we're actually going to try to do a radio trick, which is get some of these folks on the phone live. So we'll have some folks chatting in the chat room. We'll be talking on the telephone. We'll be playing some music. We'll be having some fun. Nicole Alvarez is another example of somebody who dreamed about doing something in her life. She wanted to be a DJ. She used to practice at home. And she put her mind to it, and she's made it happen. Now she's working at one of maybe the premier alternative music station in all of America. So I hope you'll come and join us. That's Renman Music and Business Ask Renman. If you got a question, all you got to do is 60 to 90-second video, post it on YouTube, send me a link, and here we are being part of the act. Thanks for joining our site. Thanks for coming back. And I'm now going to head out and play a little golf. Got to do it. See you later. My name's Renman. Over and out. How's that, Fred?